All right, again from California, an import here. We have with us, Dr. Robert Hamilton, whose book is also, books, plural, are here for sale. And again, you have given this community and every single person who's come to see our exhibition the magic formula for keeping children. So if we could roll that, this is something that you could take home, you babysitters, your grandparents.
Hello friends, it's a wonderful day here at Pacific Ocean Pediatrics in Santa Monica, California. My name is Bob Hamilton. I'm a pediatrician. I've been doing it now for about 30 years. One of the great joys I've had in life is I've been able to care for literally thousands of newborn children. One of the challenges that pediatricians have in taking care of children is trying to communicate clear and precise information to their parents. A lot of times over a baby who's crying very, very loud. And I have utilized a technique that I call the hold over the years, which is very helpful in calming children and keeping them quiet. So today I'd like to show you how I do that. This is simple hold. I think you'll understand. Come with me now into one of my consultation rooms. I'll show you how I do it. Here we have a crying baby, and he just got a shot here. So this is Ashton, and here's what we do. So we pick up Ashton. I fold his right arm like this, and then his left arm in front, and then very gently hold his arms like this, hold his little bottom, and gently rock him up and down, just like that. And even though he just got a shot, look at that leg. That's a big ouch on that leg there. You can see that you can comfort him and quiet him. Again, I'm holding with my right hand his little bottom. I'm gently shaking him back and forth. We rock him up and down very gently. Sometimes we stir him to the left and we stir him to the right. And there's our baby. Here we have another little crying baby who just got a shot. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up this little guy. And again, I take his left arm, his right arm, I'm sorry, and put it across his body, then his left arm across the body like that. I hold it. Grab his little bottom and very gently rock him up and down. They at a 45-degree angle. You can see that he comforts pretty quickly, really. This is a good baby. I shake his little booty like that. I gently rock him. Everything you do is very gentle. You don't want to do jerking motions ever. You hold the child with the fleshy part of your hands, not with your fingertips, okay? And again, I am supporting his chin. He's lifting his head up here, which is why you hold him at a 45-degree angle. You never want to put him like this because they can throw their head back and you can lose control of the baby very quickly. And you can see I'm rolling my finger around his chin, and look at him. This is a content little baby. He just got a shot. But he goes, "I'm tough, Dr. Hamilton. I can do that." So this is a good baby.
A lot of tears from both parents and grandparents have been saved because of you, Dr. Hamilton. It's a pleasure to have you for. Did I mention he said he was the pediatrician to Stevie Wonder's children throughout life, and he actually performed the circumcision on one of, I guess, Stevie's son. And that he demanded that that be filmed up close, and as Stevie did, who, as you know, is blind. But let me bring you over. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. Well, I will tell you that I'm one of those losers. I've never been here before. I've never actually been to Baltimore before, and so this is my first time here. And I'm going to put that right there, and I'm going to put. Whose is this? Is that yours? I'm going to borrow the lectern here. I'm not as articulate as my other guests, so I have to actually have notes, and that actually keeps me from getting too far off the beaten path as well. Anyway, Rebecca, I'm delighted to be in the American Visionary Art Museum, and I haven't gone through it yet. I'm going to go through it when we finish up here today, so I'm looking forward to that. Where is that child? I'm going to do this on this child. Come over here. This is Sylvie, you guys, and I'll tell you what, I will trade
microphone for child. Okay, so you got to hold the microphone to my mouth. Okay, so here's how you do it. Okay, here's what it was all about. This is Sylvie. Okay, and this is the wonderful thing is, you know, people. I'll tell you a cute story. But anyway, what you do: grab one arm like that, one arm like that, and you grab their little bottom, and you jiggle them up and down. I'm told not to use the word shake because of the shaken baby syndrome, but you do kind of gently rock them up and down. And they. Oh, by the way, a little side thing is they open their eyes. Okay. Okay, so I have a great job, right? There you go. Back to mommy. Thank you. There we go. In the flesh. So let me briefly introduce myself to you. I'm a pediatrician from Santa Monica. I've been in practice for over 30 years. I went to medical school at UCLA. I did my training at UCLA as well. I ultimately became the chief resident, and I ran into that guy right there, Dan Siegel. And I will tell you that the last time I think I saw Dan Siegel, he was my intern. I was his senior resident. And I think I told Dan, I said, Dan, go admit that patient and put an IV into him. And then I haven't seen you for that time. I mean, I'm not sure what happened to you. But anyway, so I'm still looking for you, Dan. Though I have to say, I do follow Dan's career. I'm very proud of Dan Siegel, let me tell you. And it's an honor to be here and share a dais with you, believe me. Here. I've been married to my wife Leslie for nearly 46 years, and she would be with me today. Although my oldest son, who is now 43, is running the LA Marathon, and so our home literally is on the path of the run, and so she's back home with all of our children, cheering on my son Josh. We actually have 6 children. We have 8 grandchildren. Number 9 is on the way. And so when I'm not giving lectures and when I'm not seeing patients in my office, I'm actually wrestling at the park with my grandchildren. I have to tell you, it's a great time. It's a wonderful thing. So a little over 3 years ago, I did post that little video on YouTube called How to Calm a Crying Baby. And you saw what I did. And I will tell you, much to my surprise, that video went crazy. It went viral. Now, mind you, when you mention the word viral to me, I'm a doctor, I'm a pediatrician. I spend my whole day in offices, and when you mention the word viral to me, I'm thinking about a runny nose, maybe diarrhea, okay? But what happened is it did kind of explode, and in a few weeks after that event, I began to get phone calls from New York City, and that resulted in my what I call my 10 seconds of sparkle, which included appearances on some of the TV shows, Good Morning America and what have you. Dr. Oz had me on his show. And I will tell you, I had a good time. It was a lot of fun. And they met with the black limousine. You know, Dan gets his treatment all the time. I don't, you know. And, you know, I got to, you know, they drove me around. It was amazing. A little overwhelming, but amazing. But in the aftermath of all that glitter, something really wonderful happened. I was approached by St. Martin's Press to write a book. Now, the question is, you know, I had to, before I said, I jumped on it, I said, do I really have a book in me, okay? And I went back and forth, and I concluded, well, you know what, yeah, I do have a book. But it wasn't so much about having a book inside of me, not like I have like a book in my body, you know? I really pondered a different question, and that question was, is there a message that I want to communicate with this generation? That was really the thing that really compelled me. When I asked the question in that regard, I said, yeah, there is a message I want to share. And not surprising, my book is about children. It's about babies, and in particular, it's about the first year of life. I happen to think that the first year of life is by far the most dynamic in the lifespan of human beings. And my hope was to really capture the marvel of what that first year brought. And we had with us earlier, I'm not sure if we have Milo. Is Milo still here? Where's Milo? Milo left us? Okay, Milo's gone, Dan. You chased him away. Anyway, so the amazing thing is from one, that moment of birth, that these children come out and they're kind of, they're not doing a whole lot, right? They kind of cry a lot, they poo, they pee. And the reality is after 1 year, what are they? They're these amazing little people that are running around, they're infinitely curious, they're into everything. And my hope was to really engender into my readers a sense of awe and amazement, even glory. The life itself is a miracle and a wonder. Einstein said it like this: there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And I know you know that quote because you like quotes. And I want you to think about this, and let's just take an example. Okay, we're all here together in this auditorium. We're all here in real time. You're looking at me and I'm looking back at you. You're hearing me speak. The words that I am saying are being effectuated by my vocal cords and amplified by my microphone. They're traveling, those words are traveling through the air of this room in wave form. They're causing your tympanic membranes to begin to vibrate. There are 3 little bones in your middle ear which are actually amplifying that vibration 22 times. And then they then turn that over to the inner ear, which then transfers that vibration to what are called frequency-tuned hair fibers that then cause nerves to be stimulated. That stimulation then goes back to the temporal lobe, where we then are able to decipher and discern and hopefully understand the words which I am sharing with you right now. Let me give you an example. When I say the word kite, what happened? Well, not only did you hear that word, but for all of us, a visual image went boom into our brain, right? And now look, I will tell you that my kite is probably not your kite, okay? My kite is a red kite against a beautiful blue sky that has a long white tail. Your kite may be a dragon kite, it may be a box kite. Your kite may be even a bird, because there are birds out there which are called kites. Now, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing that we're alive, we're here together, we're on this beautiful afternoon in Baltimore, and we're all hallucinating about kites together. We're thinking about kites. And the overarching thesis of my book, and I think one reason why I was invited to this conference, but the overarching thesis is this, is that life is amazing. Life is incredible. Now, I know some of you are going, okay, Hamilton, that's a little simplistic. You've got to do a little bit better than that. But that's it. That's my thesis. Life as we know it, of course, begins with the child. Those of you who have children undoubtedly know what a joy, what a pleasure it is to have a child. Now, let me say, not all the time. I'm listening to your talk, Brad, and I'm kind of going, you know what, you're right. There's a lot of transitions. There's a lot of misery. There's a lot of pain in having a child. But there are moments of delight and wonder, too. And I'm choosing to look at the wonder side of this whole thing, okay? But children are precious, and they are particularly precious during the first year of their life. So that is my general thesis. I have a lot of sub-theses too, and because this is a conference about the art of parenting without a manual, let me give you a couple of thoughts, which are actually in my book, which I guess would be like a manual. But anyway, let me give you a couple of my thoughts about what I put down. First of all, make sure that life is simple. Children you don't need to go out and buy a bunch of stuff for your child. They really need almost nothing. And I'm telling you that if you go out and buy clothes for your 1-month-old child or your newborn child, guess what? In about 1 month, they're going to grow out of it, okay? Because children grow out really quickly. And yes, it's wonderful to dress your child in a little cowgirl outfit or whatever. You're going to do that one time, all right? And you're going to pay a lot of money for that dress or whatever. And you're laughing because it's so true. And there are a lot of things which never get worn, right? So keep it simple. Don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff because they don't need it. What they really need more than anything, and it's been touched on beautifully, really, Heather, in your talk, and also Joe, by your talk, is that they need parents who pay attention to them, who love them, who answer those quiet little coos that you're going to hear, who appreciate their gummy little grins that come back to you and relish those early, very furtive smiles that happen about a month of age. I also talk about the fact that we need moms and dads. Both of them are important. I'll tell you, it's very, very difficult to do this job alone. It really is. And I honor the people who do it. I have many in my practice who actually are single moms, and they do it. It's a lot of work. So I encourage parents to find each other, love each other, get married, and have a family together. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Yes, it does. That village, however, begins with 2 healthy adults who are committed to parenting. I will tell you that, just as a personal comment, I had, talking about the prefrontal cortex, my oldest son, Josh, was born when I was 22. I ask him to forgive me frequently for that because I don't think my frontal cortex was completely mature. I think he's forgiven me. I don't know. But anyway, I do recommend that you are old enough to have children too, is the point. So I'm not willy-nilly recommending that people go out and start having children until they're really mentally and emotionally mature to do it. Another idea that I like to share with my patients is embrace the mundane. What does that mean? Well, here's what it means. It means that the things that you find boring, that are tedious to you, when you wash the dishes, when you go out and have to weed the garden, or you're, whatever, washing, you're doing the laundry, they're kind of things we have to do every day, right? But to your child, they're novel. They're unique, they're interesting, and engage your children in what you're doing. This is a very profound thing. They take delight in these mundane, boring things. And if you can actually see the world, you were talking about creativity, if we can actually step back and see the world from a child's perspective, the world is much more fun. I sometimes tell my patients, I say, I'm terribly jealous of these young children, these 1-year-old children, because they find everything fascinating. They're constantly moving. They're trying to discover it. I kind of look at them and I kind of go, what happened to me? I'm not doing that anymore. I want to do that more, okay? Where you actually look at everything and you kind of go, wow, that's amazing. And I see that in my young children who are crawling around my office. Another good piece of advice is please get your children vaccinated. I mentioned that. We live, yes, go ahead and clap if you would. I live literally in the epicenter of non-vaxxers, Santa Monica, our area, Topanga Canyon. It's an amazing area that is it's a very wealthy area, an area where people should know better. This is an anti-intellectual idea. It really is. And so you don't want to be part of that crowd. You don't want to also expose your child unnecessarily to preventable infectious diseases, and there really are. I actually spent a fair amount of my life in Africa. I've been there 26 times. I do medical missions. I just got back from the Gambia a few short weeks ago. And I will tell you that when you're in Africa, you run into things that you don't see here in America. I'll never forget a woman in my clinic one time. I was over here, and we usually kind of function in a big room like this almost. And she was literally crawling across the floor. And I kind of go, is that lady crawling? And, because she was kind of like a spider. And I realized that she had I went over and looked at her, and she had these little legs which were bone thin. She had polio. She had polio when she was a kid. That was how she got around. And these things that we hear about, but we never have seen, when you actually see them in the flesh, it kind of makes you into, you kind of go, wow, these infectious diseases are very real. Here's another piece of advice. When you have a child, don't become a hermit. Take him or her out into your community. We've been talking about community today. And do it after a month or two, after they get a couple of vaccinations on board, and let them meet your friends. Engage them in what you're doing. I do see people who kind of, cloister themselves into their apartments or their homes. They don't come out anymore because their child has got this rigid schedule. Don't do that. Include your child in your life. Whatever you're doing before, keep doing it, okay? Put them in your backpack or in your front pack and take them with you. I'm all about that. The other thing, too, is take them outdoors. Who said that we're not? You said about about the kids they're losing touch with nature. I actually have this belief that children should not live in a building. They should live out there as much as possible. And yes, you got to bring them in at night. And yes, when it's pouring down rain and hailing, whatever, you got to bring them in. But in California in particular, Dan, don't you think our kids should live outdoors like all the time? Okay. By the way, when you take your children out into the community, people love children. They go crazy over children. And they, you know what? Children light up every room that they come into. The delight and joy that we all feel is wonderful. I always tell people that, you know, when they have a kid, you become a rock star because you go anywhere and people come up to you. They actually want to look at your child. Before you have a child, they'll touch your abdomen, ladies, and which I find to be always amazing. You know, they do that, don't they? They really do. Other thing is travel with them. Little secret, children actually, little children, young children in particular, during the first year travel phenomenally well. And that changes after about a year. They don't travel so well after that. But they do travel beautifully, and to a degree, you have a responsibility to take that child to your family, to show them off, and actually that happens to be a great pleasure to do when you have children. Finally, the other thing I wanted to share with you, and I'm about finishing here, is that I also want to kind of talk about children and having children in a bigger picture. Not only do children light up our lives, but they also change us. They help us, they grow us up. And to say that the input to a child is only one way is not, you don't have a child, okay? Because they talk back to you too. And they also, by definition, they thrust us into a different generation. They thrust us into tomorrow. This museum is called the Visionary Museum. That to me means you're looking into a vision of tomorrow. Am I correct about that? Okay. Well, if you don't have children, you don't have a tomorrow. You realize, and by definition, children really do take us who are involved in our daily activities and they cause us to think and to extrapolate into tomorrow. That is a powerful, powerful thing. And I will contend, you know, shoot me down if you will, that we become better people when we have children because we have to think beyond ourselves. We have to think about political issues, social issues, environmental issues. There are a lot of things that really come into play that when you're kind of having a good time in your 20s, you're not really thinking about that much, right? That was me, I can tell you that. So I am, they do thrust us into the next generation, but there's another important thing is the culture needs to have children. They are, in fact, our tomorrows. I am very concerned that we're going to have people miss out. What do I mean by this? Well, I actually have a lot of first-time mothers in my practice who are in their mid-30s. They come to me, they're 32, 33, 34. They've had a career, they've been busy, nothing wrong with that. But they come to me with their first child, and I frequently talk to my patients, and I say, well, how does it feel to be a mother? You've been doing a lot of things beforehand. How do you relate to this new role in your life of being a parent, being a mom? And I will tell you that they answer back to me with tears in their eyes, and they look at me and they say, why didn't anybody tell me this? I go, what? They go, why wasn't I told that having a child would bring such delight and joy to my life? And I will tell you, and I am concerned about that. And the reality is that and I believe this, and just hear me out, I think that we're crowding out children from our culture. There are a lot of things that we're putting in front of children. We're putting educations and careers and traveling and having fun and buying houses and doing this, and you know what I'm talking about. By the way, none of that is bad. None of that is bad. But I do feel that idea of having children is being put on a back burner. And I will tell you that yes, there are things that you need to do. You need to grow up, you need to mature, you need to become financially somewhat solvent before you start having children. I'm not advocating irresponsibility at all. But I will tell you that we're putting it so far on the back burner that we're not going to have children. That's a big issue. It's a big issue in our culture today. And I will tell you that My hope is that I will begin to move children from the back burner, maybe not to the front burner, but maybe we'll get them to the middle burner, okay? I determined that when my mothers asked me, why didn't someone tell me about this? I thought to myself, I'm gonna be the one to tell people. I'm gonna make it my goal to tell people to have children. I know I sound like you're probably your grandparents or your parents, maybe your parents, you know, have your kids. But it's truly, really true. The other thing, how much time do I have? A minute or two? Am I good? I am red. Okay. Okay. You didn't give me the yellow card, ladies. I've been waiting for the yellow card. I was waiting for that. Okay, my time is up. Thank you for your attention. It's really a pleasure being here.